So we want to talk about realtors, specifically how do they grow their businesses? And in this market, now the market has been changing. It was, it seemed like it was completely different even just a couple months ago. And so one thing that people are trying to figure out is how do they cope with that? Because the traditional old way of doing business is not going to work in this new market, especially as things continue to change. So let's talk about the old energy business, and then how do you actually have an enlightened kind of new business?
Welcome to the Jennifer J. Hammond podcast. Jennifer is a licensed realtor, educator, speaker, and best-selling author. Jennifer's goal is to help you find your yay in every day.
Hello. It's Jennifer J. Hammond, and I'm so excited. I have Irina Baker here. She has 3 master's degrees, extensive studies in spirituality, lots of books, entrepreneurial awards, and so I would like to welcome you, Irina. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for inviting me. I'm very happy. Let's have fun right now.
Let's have fun. So we want to talk about realtors, specifically how do they grow their businesses? And in this market, now the market has been changing. It was, it seemed like it was completely different even just a couple months ago. And so one thing that people are trying to figure out is how do they cope with that? Because the traditional old way of doing business is not going to work in this new market, especially as things continue to change. So let's talk about the old energy business, and then how do you actually have an enlightened kind of new business?
Right. And I would like to specify that I'm not a realtor, but I am a spiritual self-awareness mentor. So I do work with clients actually who are realtors right now in my group. So I do give a lot of examples, and that's where we go. So yes, the traditional old energy business, I call it, is based on ego. A lot of male dominated. So we have realtor world, male dominated world, even though a lot of women realtors, but let's face the truth, a lot of males who try to be aggressive. They say, if you go to a BNI meeting and they would say, oh, I'm aggressive, pick me. I want to be in this meeting because I get results, testosterone driven meeting business. And it's also based on fear, scarcity, and anger, because you have to be aggressive, even angry, to get results. And I remember a realtor, a man, wrote a book, and he was advertising it. Of course, I don't remember the exact title, but it was interesting because the book said how to outperform, outrun, outdo your competition. So we're looking at the model that is survival of the fittest. You have to really be aggressive to get there, to get the competition. So that's the old one. And now the new one is entirely different. So the example is you have to have, if that's okay, I will tell a very short story and it will illustrate my point.
Sure.
So it just recently happened to me. I really embarrassed myself. So I'm going to share an embarrassment story right now, but that's for the good of all. So I had to pick up my daughter, who is 12 years old, at the high school, at the high school auditorium, because she was at the rehearsal and she needed to go to do swim team pictures at the same time, the conflict in schedule. So I had to, in the middle of the rehearsal, I have to get in and I had to pick her up. So I have to go through the doors, which are locked because it's a Friday. They don't have school on that day. So they're inside the building. And here I am going to that building and looking at this door, glass doors, and I'm knocking. First, I tried to open and they're locked. Immediately, my brain sends a impulse. Oh, the doors are locked. I won't be able to pick her up. She won't hear me. No pictures, no yearbook pictures, and basically gloom and doom picture in my brain, in my mind. And so I decided to get through no matter what, get results. So I'm calling her. She's not answering because she's at the rehearsal. And then, which I shouldn't have called because she's at the rehearsal. And then I'm knocking with all my force on these glass windows. and nobody is answering. And guess what? I'm knocking even more. I am always get results, get the daughter, retrieve her. And so finally, a teenage girl comes out and opens the doors. And I'm all in panic already, but I'm so grateful. So I'm telling her, oh, thank you so much. The doors were locked. And she didn't say anything, or maybe I was too panicky. I didn't even hear. So I just rushed into the auditorium and got my daughter. So my daughter comes out, and she calmly comes to the second set of doors, which I didn't even see. She opens those doors, and she says, "Why didn't you go through these doors? They're open." So I was knocking on the first set of doors, and I was so using this aggression and force, and I was in panic. I had to get results. And when next door, there is an open door that I could easily come in, not embarrass myself in front of the friends of my daughters. You know how teenagers are, right? The mother is doing something crazy, but then it would be easy. There is no doom and gloom. It would feel good. I would just go in and get the daughter and go on my way. Do you see the difference?
Definitely. And I think that is so symbolic on so many things, is trying to force something to happen when there's usually it can be another way, and it can definitely be a flow. And learning to be in that flow is so critical, especially with real estate, because so often in a deal, we get stuck with something that I'm just trying to get someone to agree to whatever, to the extension. And what you realize is, oh, you know what? We have another solution for that. And it's a solution that flows, that makes everybody happy. And you want everybody to be happy in a real estate deal. So I think that is a huge part of, at least from my viewpoint, that story.
Exactly.
Very nice. We want to make sure we're always in that flow of, and again, as real estate agents, we are the problem solvers. We're constantly trying to figure out a way to solve problems and make sure that we're in that flow in that way. So there's also principles I know you talk about that are the ultimate strategies to help people save time and money when they're they're creating their business, especially as real estate agents. Will you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. In the state, because I live in the state of Arizona, and I know in the state of Arizona, at this current moment, there are more than 80,000 realtors just in one state. Imagine what the competition is, perceived competition, but nonetheless. And so why would you go that way when you can go the other way when it's enlightened business, I call it? So the three principles are, the first one, you get divinely inspired idea. So you do have to, obviously, I'm a spiritual self-awareness mentor, so I will be talking about connection with your divine self. It's not religious, but we all have divine self who knows better, who knows where your clients are, who knows where your properties are, who knows everything about you and your business and wants to help both sides, your buyers and you, or sellers and you. So why do you need to go in a maze based on ego actions when you can get a divine idea? Of course, there is a process for it, but you get the divine idea, and that divine idea will tell you what you need to do in your business today or tomorrow or at any moment. And then the second principle is green light flow. And then I will illustrate it with the example. So the second principle is green light flow, I call it. You mentioned the flow. That's exactly what it is. When the flow is when you follow divine guidance idea, that means God is on your side and God is leading you in your real estate business. And so you're going to get a corridor. I really feel it as a corridor. It's a tangible energy when everything happens smoothly. Your clients don't cancel on you. Your clients don't bother you in the middle of the night on Thanksgiving, right? Because they're anxious to buy a house in 1 month. So the easy steps, you still have to do the work. You do. But at the same time, when you call someone, when you call the agent picks up the phone because it's all divinely appropriate and it's all divinely guided. So you in that flow, everything is done with much less effort. And so the third principle is, well, divinely inspired actions. You don't overrun, you don't overperform, you don't overdo, but you take divinely inspired actions. In other words, you have to get in your car and show the house to a potential buyer. It's true. But you don't have to, you only have to do it when you're divinely guided. You will feel it, you will know it. These are your clients. And by the way, God works, and I say God again, it's God personal, it's divine inside of you. And so that divine will bring you the best clients. One of my clients, she's a business mentor and she is a real estate agent, a broker. And she says, unicorn. She uses the word unicorn, a very good client, right? The one that is perfect. They buy, they don't ask questions and so forth. I don't know what your unicorn is in real estate, but it is. And so God will bring those people and buyers and properties and listings, everything for you, because God wants win-win for everybody. And so these are 3 steps. And I could share the story if you would like me to.
Sure, go ahead, share the story.
So the story is, I will only share short period. I understand we're short on time. The story is long and has amazing details. But the point is, I was renting. So in my life, I've done and selling and buying and renting, all of it, and building also. But this time I was renting and they told us to leave unexpectedly because they were losing the house and they needed to sell the house. So we had 1 month to leave. We were not prepared. We had no idea that we were going to leave. We were still there. So everything was fine. And suddenly we have to leave. And so what I've done was very crazy, because even my daughter, who was very little at that time, but she already knew computers. So when she heard that we have to leave in 1 month, she did the normal thing. She went to the computer and started looking for houses for rent. So she knew what to do. But I said to her, no, don't do it. Or you can sit and do it, but we're not doing it. So my mom was looking at me like, oh, she's crazy, but they know my spiritual way and they know it's been tested and proven, and I work with it and I help others to do that. So what I did was, out of 30 days, I waited for 20 days. 20 days.
Wow.
We were packing. We were taking actions. We were packing. But I was not looking for houses. I was not doing anything that normal people do, applications and verifications and houses and looking for it, right? And driving around, looking for property, right? All of it, getting the agent. And by the way, I didn't have an agent at that time. And so on the 21st day, and of course, it sounds simple, but I also have a system for that. So I'm not sharing details because we don't have time. But anyway, on the 21st day, I got the house.
Beautiful.
I had divine guidance that took me in the flow, and that divine guidance would tell me, don't do it yet. So I knew for 20 days I had to finish what I was doing inside, because I always work on myself. And so on the 21st day, I had an urge to go to specific place, the models, because we were in a brand new community, newly built. So they were building, they were not renting. And I was determined to stay in that community. So I gave to Divine very big demands. And so on 21st day, I go to the seller, the real estate person, and I say, well, do you have anybody who rents? He says, no, we buy. And I bought the house there, I built the house, and then I sold it later. And so I said, what, do you know anybody? He knew somebody. That somebody picked up the phone immediately. Do you see the divine guidance flow I'm talking about? Picked up the phone, I got the house. The brand built new house that is not for renters, was not for renters. A person was about to move, but only in a later time. So she needed somebody to be in this house while she is making that move later on. She didn't advertise. They didn't advertise anything. I call it the palace because it was an amazing house, fully upgraded. People would say, are you renting it? Nobody could believe me. But yes, I was renting. Everything was step by step by step. in divine guidance flow easily because I was following divine guidance. It was divinely inspired idea to go to that day, on that day, particular day. And another thing, if I may, I like to talk, I should have stopped right there, but I do want to share it. And so on that day, that person, I knew that person from buying the house, but he was not supposed to be in that office. He was replacing somebody who was sick. It was only one day. That's why I was waiting for it.
It's special. Yeah. As long as you're in that flow, it's amazing. All of the opportunities that just abound, they just all come. It's so special.
Right. And that's the enlightened business. That's how you deal. It's the same. It's life, it's business. It doesn't matter. You follow these 3 steps and that's what you get.
That is so beautiful. Well, I want to know, we're already out of time, so I want to make sure that people know how to get a hold of you.
I would like to offer people a free gift. It's called Divine Guidance Science 101. So it's the first step to actually get initiated into this divinely inspired ideas and divine guidance flow and divinely inspired actions. And so it's absolutely free, and it's a course for women entrepreneurs. Well, anybody welcome, but I just say women entrepreneurs because a lot of realtors would maybe like to have it. So gift from Irina.com, and Irina is spelled IRINA. Gift from Irina.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that gift. And as you know, I end every one of my episodes with a yay. So I'm going to ask you to lift your voice and say yay with me. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Great. 3, 2, 1.
Yay! Yay!
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jack Canfield. You may know me as the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And if you want more help in getting from where you are to where you want to be, I want to encourage you to listen to the Jennifer Hammond Show.